Number one of the greatest single half performances I've ever seen in basketball. I've fully watched all of Magic, all of Bird, all of Chuck, all of Jordan, Ewing, Olajuwon, all of them. It was one of the best halves. It was in the top 5 best offensive halves of basketball I've ever seen.
Asterisk, what Caitlin Clark just did was bigger than a comeback in her first game back from injury. Caitlin Clark didn't just deliver a solid performance, she sent shockwaves through the basketball world. After missing 5 crucial games, and with the Indiana Fever in freefall, all eyes were on her return. And under that pressure, Clark didn't just rise, she soared. With poise, power, and undeniable presence, she reminded everyone exactly who runs the WNBA. Even her opponents couldn't help but be in awe. This wasn't just a comeback hit, it was a statement.
Yep, I'm gonna say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
Caitlin Clark's 38 seconds of pure greatness there was a 38-second stretch in Caitlin Clark's return that reminded the entire world exactly why she's the one. It had everything: deep range, unshakable swagger, and a flawless sense of timing. With the spotlight burning bright and the pressure mounting, Clark didn't just show up, she took over, and in those few seconds, she delivered something unforgettable. Even the New York Liberty players and their head coach couldn't hide their reactions. In a league built on big moments, this might have been the most electrifying 38 seconds in WNBA history. You could see it in her opponent's stunned expressions. You could hear it in the silence of the critics, scrambling to find anything and bring her down. But the truth, the hate is starting to sound more like desperation. Let's break it all down, but first, hit that like button if you were just as hyped to see Caitlin Clark back in action, and drop a W in the comments if you caught the game live like I did. Now, to set the scene, this wasn't just another game. Caitlin had missed 5 straight matchups with an injury, and in that time, the WNBA got a sobering glimpse of what the league looks like without her. The Fever went 2-3 in her absence, including a brutal loss to the Connecticut Sun. But it wasn't just about the losses, it was about how they lost. Without her, the team looked flat. The energy, gone. The magic, missing. Until now.
Wow, the Indiana Fever are just not fun to watch without Caitlin Clark.
Fast-paced run-and-gun team fans fell in love with. It vanished. Instead, the Fever started playing with all the speed and energy of a DMV line on a Tuesday morning. And here's the hard truth. If the Fever aren't playing exciting, Caitlin Clark-style basketball, it's not just Indiana that feels the impact. The entire league takes a hit. And wow, did the WNBA feel it?
You know, she better get back soon because out of sight, out of mind.
Ratings didn't just dip, they imploded, crashing over 50% across the league during Caitlin Clark's absence. And to make matters worse, the spotlight she left behind wasn't filled with jaw-dropping highlights. Instead, fans were served clips of Angel Reese missing layups, and Deja A. Carrington trying to manufacture drama in the wake of Kennedy Carter's chaos. Meanwhile, the casual fans, the ones the WNBA desperately needs to keep growing, were already halfway out the door. Without Caitlin, the spark, the buzz, the product just wasn't the same. And let's be honest, it's not like the league had done a stellar job of welcoming those fans in the first place.
The media, I felt like, mishandled so many things with the WNBA last season, and specifically with Caitlin Clark and her fan base. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are boycotting the WNBA. They don't want to give viewership to any other teams or any other players, whether they like other players on the team or not, because of how the media and the league itself has handled Caitlin Clark.
It was the ultimate reality check for a league that had just put Indiana fans through a 10-day hate speech investigation based on nothing more than unverified rumors. All the while, clear and targeted vitriol toward Fever players went conveniently ignored. And this didn't happen in a vacuum. It followed months of media personalities and even fellow players taking shots at those same fans, questioning their loyalty, mocking their knowledge, and labeling them as anything but real. Basketball supporters.
The new fans are sucking the f***ing life out of the WNBA right now.
So when the news finally broke that Caitlin Clark was cleared to return, you could practically hear a collective sigh of relief from the Fever, from the league, and from fans everywhere. The timing, perfect. The stage couldn't have been scripted any better.
Get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud locks her up.
Even the last time we saw Caitlin Clark on the court, she was fouled on a game-tying shot with no whistle as the buzzer sounded, handing the Liberty a narrow 92-88 win. That game, it peaked at a record-breaking 3.3 million viewers. But the moment Caitlin was ruled out afterward, those numbers fell off a cliff. Now, she was set to return against that same undefeated Liberty squad. The Fever had struggled in her absence, and two questions were on everyone's mind. How would she look? And how much of a difference could she make the moment she stepped back on the floor? As it turns out, we were about to witness something special.
This was an unbelievable ass-kicking by Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin came out scoring and dishing dimes, but the Fever still found themselves in a deep early hole. Then everything changed. In what might go down as the most electrifying 38 seconds in WNBA history, Caitlin Clark completely flipped the script. She took over the game, shifted the momentum, and reminded everyone exactly who she is.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark. Two players with incredible Clark, another long three. She's back!
And she stepped up and knocked down 3 deep 3-dash pointers. Dash back, dash 2, dash back, dash 2, dash back, dash, each one more confident. More electric than the last. It wasn't just a hot streak. It was a game changer. The momentum swung instantly. The tone was set. And what followed wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. That 38-second burst didn't just light up the scoreboard. It lit up the entire sports world.
3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half. Caitlin Clark hit 3 logo bombs, by the way. 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. This was the Caitlin Clark we all said, oh, she's different. she's sent from outer space. The Caitlin Clark that we saw today was the Caitlin Clark that we were accustomed to seeing. Oh, it feels good, folks.
It was another iconic Caitlin Clark moment, right up there with that unforgettable deep 3 against Brazil that had everyone talking. She has a rare gift for rising to the occasion, not just performing under pressure, but doing it with flair. Caitlin doesn't just show up when it counts. She delivers in a way that makes the crowd erupt. She gives fans exactly what they came to see.
The Caitlin Clark show is very real, and Caitlin Clark's ability to rise to the moment and put on a show is remarkable.
There's just like a certain star quality and like star power there, but it takes you being confident enough, willing enough to be like, oh, no. I know what you want. Come here. I'm going to give it to you. I loved it so much.
And that was just the beginning. The crowd was already buzzing. Social media was on fire. But what came next took things to another level. Later in the first half, Caitlin hit a nasty step-back 3-on, not just over anyone. She did it over Breanna Stewart, a former MVP, and one of the league's absolute best. The shot was cold. The confidence was unreal. And Stewie's reaction, absolutely priceless. Even she couldn't hide her awe.
The second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time.
Stewie couldn't help but crack a smile after what Caitlin had just pulled off, and that tells you everything you need to know. Even better, in the background, the Liberty head coach was smiling and clapping too. When your opponents are applauding your brilliance in real time, you know you're witnessing something special.
Right in Stewie's face, and Stewie couldn't help but laugh. Couldn't help but laugh. Caitlin Clark letting her have it. And folks, look at Sandy Brondello. Sandy Brondello can't even hate. Sandy, you can hate. You need to appreciate, folks.